I have to admit something. I really have a lousy memory. Growing up, I can't remember much, but I had a tool that I depended on to help me remember my childhood. And what was that? Movies. My mom would ask me, remember when I was 12 and you threw up, we went to the restaurant, and I was like, remember it was the day we saw Indiana Jones 3 and how much, and then after that, what did we do? Oh yeah, we went to the restaurant. I remember throwing up and I was really sick. I depend on movies to help me with the timeline of my life. But what is the most important movie of my childhood that influenced me the most? It didn't matter if it was captioned. I would sit there, I would watch it. I never got bored, I never got restless. I just loved watching movies. I was fascinated by the lights and the cameras and the movement. I couldn't understand the words, but the movement of the camera, just how separate pictures with no words, just pictures, came together to tell a story. It was wonderful. It was really powerful for me. There was one movie that I burned in my head from memory forever, and that movie was E.T. How many people have seen it? You've all seen it, right? It was a really powerful movie. The first movie I saw in the theater, I remember, I don't remember before, but that one, I remember sitting there and I'm with my mom and we were really excited and we sat through the whole movie. And after the movie ended, I was really sad and I was really crying, and we got home and I couldn't sleep because E.T. died. It was awful. But I remember, do you remember the opening scene? It was at night. And there was a forest, and there was lights everywhere, and the trees were blowing, and you could see there was a creature trying to escape. It was a whole lot of cars, and door opened, and a man stepped out. All you see is his feet, and then it pans up to his waist where there's keys. You never saw his face. It was focused on the keys. I don't know who the man was or why he was there or what his job was, but I know that he was chasing E.T. and E.T. escaped into the city. And then later, when the story, you remember the famous scene with the bicycle? With E.T. dying, he was really sick, and they were trying to bring him home with the boy, and he was crying over it. And outside, you see the cops, and you see NASA and different people all coming around. You see a truck, the door open. We see the same feet and the same keys. I don't remember his face. I don't know his job. But I remember the keys from one scene to another. It was really, you knew that man was a bad guy trying to steal E.T. and take him somewhere. But that's all, that keychain. But I knew from that point on I wanted to make movies. That I wanted to take pictures and tell a story. It didn't depend on writing, it didn't depend on sign, it would depend on the pictures. I knew from that point on that I wanted to make movies. But I entered Gallaudet University and I took a filmmaking class with my major. And my teacher then, he's recently died, but he didn't sign. We worked together, and we didn't depend on the interpreter, and we learned a lot of different things. And then we had projects, and one of the most important projects was visual expression. Visual expression. But before then, we'd learned pictures, we learned how to tell stories, but the teacher had a hard time explaining what he was looking for. He wanted us to express ourselves. Okay, what do you mean by that? He showed us a film. You remember, he was hearing from when he was in college, and it was really strange. There was a man's face with no shirt, and then there was some grass and some lawnmower, a fire, and then he was running, and outside it was cloudy, and I didn't understand it. It was really strange, but it was his expression. It had music and sound, but this was the part of my life. Now, this is a deaf class. I want you to express yourself. Don't do what I did. That was mine. But take your expression. We struggled. because we couldn't figure out, he couldn't figure out the words, how to explain it to us, what he wanted. But when we finished the project, we handed it in, and he said it was pretty good. But it was burned into my memory. When at Gallaudet, I transferred to RIT, focused more on technology, the course on lights and cameras and lots of different things.